All right, we are now officially in the woods. It's where some of the movie The Blair Witch Project was shot. These are the woods right here, but that was all fictional. However, there's soldiers who died in these woods, and they're still here. Not really sure how far this trail goes. We'll find out. Cobb's Georgia Legion. It was here that so many of the Legion were killed and taken prisoners. When once over the fence, there was no escape. Surrender or utter annihilation were the only alternatives. Soon after arriving at Crampton's Gap, Cobb's Georgia Legion, commanded by Jefferson M. Lamar, along with the 16th Georgia, commanded by Philip Thomas, were sent down Gaplin Road to support the Confederate right. As these regiments were going into position, the Confederate line at the base of the mountain broke under the weight of the Union assault. The Georgians crossed the stone wall bordering the road and formed a battle line in the area in front of you. As they began firing into the advancing Union lines in front of them, Alfred Torbert's New Jersey Brigade was advancing on their left flank and rear. Surrounded on three sides, the Legion was finally forced to retreat towards the gap. Of the 248 men who entered the battle, Cobb's Legion lost 190, most of whom were captured. Lieutenant Colonel Jefferson Lamar, mortally wounded near here during the battle. Sergeant Benjamin Mell of Cobb's Legion. Mortally wounded during the battle, he would tell his fellow soldiers, "Boys, I know I must die, but I don't leave the field." Wow. This is the front lines right here. They got surrounded on three sides. Kind of there. That's not good. They had to get the heck out of here. Whew. You can feel it. Another beautiful day. It's finally warmed up a little bit. A little bit. Now the sun is warm. The confusion of battle. The charge was maintained to the top of the mountain, up an almost perpendicular steep, over rocks and ledges, through the underbrush and timber, until the crest overlooking the valley beyond was gained. Colonel Joseph J. Bartlett, commanding 2nd Brigade, 1st Division, 6th Corps. In front of you is the area known as Whip's Ravine. This steep, rugged ravine was a major obstacle to both the attackers and the defenders of Crampton's Gap. The 10th Georgia attempted to reform and make a stand in the ravine, but when the 10th's commander, Major Willis C. Holt, was wounded above the left eye, the regiment's men decided to retreat. All attempts to make a stand in the ravine were in vain. The Union troops were not going to be denied the mountaintop. In the confusion, Private James Allen of the 16th New York single-handedly captured 14 Confederate soldiers and the flag of the 16th Georgia. Corporal Cyrus Stone of the 16th New York later said about the battle, "The 32nd New York were in front of us, but soon we formed ourselves in front of the enemy, and the regiments were not in order, but every regiment went into it bushwhacking style. We drove them up the hill as fast as they could, and we kept tight to their heels, and their losses were great. They get behind a tree, fire, and run.
Captain Abner M. Reynolds, 16th Georgia, killed during the fighting at Crampton's Gap. Captain, respect to you, sir. Sorry for what happened to you.
The 15th North Carolina. As the enemy pressed on the right, the 15th took position behind a rock fence with instructions to hold it, which they did until the enemy succeeded in forcing the Georgia regiments, which formed the right of the brigade, back and gained the rear and the possession of the road across the gap. First Lieutenant Henry C. Kearney, Company E, 14th North Carolina. It was a most exhausting charge. By the time we had ascended halfway, the cannon had ceased firing on our left, and the enemy seldom replied to our fire with their muskets. We made captures at every step. After passing the crest of the mountain, a lieutenant of the 15th North Carolina delivered himself up. I sent during the charge 42 prisoners to the rear. Colonel Henry L. Cake's official report of the Battle of Crampton's Gap.
There's the ravine right there. That's a foundation right there for a house. That's definitely square. Looks like there might have been a house there at one time. Saw Robin. Hey, I see you. You mean spring.